So hello and welcome to round 5 and 6 of the GTN Team Cup Championship. Sorry for delay in getting started here tonight and all things. No Jack or Leo with us tonight, so you're stuck with me, Niall Maher, who's going to be commentating on this, and hopefully we can get Rob in later on. We have a full house here in VRA HQ. All the sims are working, everyone's out, and we're currently in our qualifying session for the SPA circuit. So Brian McMahon currently our pole sitter on a 221. I believe Brian was down at a 221 dead earlier on today. So Peter McCann following him at 222.4, so full second behind for Peter McCann. Jordan Kelly, David Yamamoto, Daniel Danis, Adam Dowling in 6th, Sergey in 7th, Evan Walsh in 8th, Michael McCarthy in 9th, Ronan Hederman topping out top 10, Rob O'Neill in a very impressive 11 at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on things as we go. We've just over 2 minutes left in qualifying here. I'm going to leave the stream up and running at the moment, and we'll join you for the start of the race in about 5 minutes time. So just at the end of our qualifying session here for the last round of the GTN Cup, and it's looking like Peter McCann might have taken pole here, which will cause quite a stir and upset, I'd say, for Brian McManus. Brian McManus, of course, going for the championship. Brian fails to go faster on his lap, so I'm wondering, is there one more? I don't think they're going to get time to go around. So that is quite a result for Peter McCann. So rounding out our top 10 is Peter McCann from Brian McManus, Brad O'Neill's in third position, just pipping David Yamamoto, Jordan Kelly, Daniel Dennis, Adam Dowling in 7th, Sergey Garun, Tony Stack, and Michael McCarty with Evan Walsh in 11th with Ronan Hederman. That's going to be another battle to watch. Rob O'Neill going really well around here as well. It's great to see Rob up there. And we've Campbell, McMullen, McCluck, and Wigfield in the top 17. So we're just waiting for, it's going to be 2 10-lap sprint races here in Spa with a reverse grid in the middle of it. So we just have time to wait now until the start of the first race. So drivers will be now changing over from their qualifying setup straight into their race setups for the race. So Evan Walsh, sorry, just went quicker again. So Evan up into the top 10 actually with his personal best, as he just decides to go through the corner absolutely backwards, typical Evan Walsh style. So again, it's Peter McCann from Brian McManus with Brad O'Neill's. Brad O'Neill's still out. He can't better that. He's down a second on his time. So he's out on his flying lap. David Yamamoto's finished up. Daniel Dennis out as well. He can improve on his position, so he could get a top 5 finish ahead of Jordan Kelly. Adam Dowling has finished his run. Tony Stack is in. Evan Walsh is in. So I think that's everyone else. Keith Campbell isn't going to improve. Damien McMullen in 15th is out. So we'll just keep an eye on Brad. And yeah, so it's just Brad at the moment too. We're waiting on to see if Brad can improve. I don't think he will. We'll just keep an eye on that as Brad comes over the line. Does improve slightly, but not enough to pip Brian McManus. So it's going to be a front row lockout of Peter McMahon and Brian McManus. So it says it's a full house up here tonight in VRA HQ Mondello. We've actually got 5 simulators rocking at the moment, which is great. As we wait for the start of our final round in the GTN Team Cup. So this event was a first of its kind for VRA. So it was an opportunity for teams to get together with 2 drivers, one driving the Ferrari, one driving the Porsche. Combined team results would go towards the championship, and it really is coming down to the wire tonight. For the championship itself, we don't have Sanyo Alpha with us tonight. Sanyo Alpha was actually I'll just say he was banned from participating in this race after a performance in the last one where he had a significant outburst after the race. So Sanyo was got the ban hammer after that one, but is currently leading the championship. No Keith Dempsey with us tonight, but it's coming down to the wire. Brian McManus basically needs to finish in the top 3 of both races to be in with a chance of winning the championship. And Peter McCann and Jordan Kelly are in with a shout of winning the team championship as well. So we'll get the results of that up for you as soon as we can here. So we're just on the countdown now for 1 minute until grid time. So at this stage, as I was saying, all the drivers will be loading up their race strategies, their fuel. So we don't expect in the sprint race that guys will be coming in for refuel or tyres, but they will be loading up their strategies now for the races as we're down to the 1 minute mark. So let me just see if I can get the actual championship points loaded up here in front of me. It's all a bit rushed again tonight here. Very busy night in the VRA. If you are interested in coming along, Wednesday nights we do 2 hours for the price of 1, so it's €50 to come up for the night here and basically sit on the sims and have a bit of crack. It's very laid back, very chilled out. And you can basically have a go at whatever you want. Everything from triple screens going on at the moment to VR. I see got Brian Sexton in there. I don't know if Brian's currently on iRacing on the motion rig. We got the other 3 simulators off doing their own thing as well. So we're ready for the grid. So it's a 1 minute countdown, and we will see if we can get to the front of this grid very quick. Right on board with Brian McManus at the moment. So Peter McCann's going to have the inside line into turn 1 to the source, which is the better line obviously to have, but we will see if he can get off the line ahead of Brian McManus. Peter, of course, is a legend at getting these things off the line very quick. For every championship that we've had so far, he's just made some absolutely stellar races. He will be nothing more than delighted to take this win ahead of Brian McManus, and have all the bragging rights to that. So we're 20 seconds countdown to lights out. My job is one and only to get the camera car off the grid every week, and then to do the commentary. So we're lights on. We see that the penalty locks out. That's just for my car that's on. So we're 5 lights and we're waiting for lights out. And we are live and go for our first round of round 5 of the GTN Cup. McCann gets an absolute stunning start. McManus is just playing it safe around the outside as he's got Brad tipping him up down. Brad is sent Brian McManus around, so Brian McManus won't be happy with that at all, as we try and find Peter McCann as he's leading us up into Eau Rouge, up into Radion, and he'll have Daniel Dennis behind him a good way back. Brad O'Neill's in 3rd place. Brian McManus down in 17. He won't be happy with that at all. He needed a win here today to take the championship. So as they come down the Camel Straight into Les Combs, it's Peter McCann with nearly a 3-second lead. So that's a great start from Peter McCann. He'll be delighted with that. And Daniel Dennis is in 2nd place, holding Brad O'Neill's back. Sergey Graboon behind, and then Adam Dowling rounding out the top 5. We'll just have a look at how Brian McManus is going. We're right on board with Brian for a while to see how he's closing. We just see the speed that Brian can carry it up. Now he is going to be charging it. Spa, he said, is his favourite track, and he was caught out. We were talking in driver's briefing around turn 1. Brad was just a little bit close to the back of Brian. We'll obviously an incident will be coming in for that. So the drivers get the opportunity after the race to send in their incidents to the VRA, and we'll review them. And you can have 5, 10, up to 30 seconds penalties applied, all the way up to a ban, as we had, as we were saying to start the race, for Sanyo Alpha, who for outbursts and for reasons beyond, he was banned from starting the grid in this race. But championship points were still held, so he's currently our championship leader on that. So we just come back out to the front. Peter McCann's after extending his lead out to 3.5 seconds. So Peter, you can just see in the background there, Daniel Dennis was coming in stride to come through Blanchimont. So the game now for Peter McCann is to control that pace, get a gap, and then to maintain it. It's 10 laps, is a long race around Spa-Francorchamps. So as we're just looking back down, it's pretty much spread out. But as we're looking again into 12th position with Brian McManus, you're right on board as well. So you can see Brian is already making his way up to 12th from 17th, and with James Wigfield in front. David Yamamoto, of course, that's his teammate. I wonder if David Yamamoto, and that's a spin. I'm not sure, and that's a spin for Brian as well. So I'm not sure who that was, but Peter McCann leading them down into Eau Rouge for lap 2, ahead of Dominic Dennis in 2nd position, with Brad O'Neill's evenly spread out as they come through the famous Eau Rouge up into. Oh, that's that is Brad O'Neill's. It is. That is one. I don't know if Brad's had a failure or something there, but he's straight back to the pits. So Peter McCann now with a 3.5 seconds. I'm not sure what happened to Brad, but that could be the end of Brad's race. Peter McCann up into 11th after that spin on the straight. So a bit of a messy start, although this is exactly the start that Peter McCann wanted. So down through Brussels, Peter now will be delighted with a 3.5 seconds. We're just right on board with Dominic Dennis, who has himself a 3-second gap back to Sergey Graboon in the Porsche. So it's Ferrari, Porsche at the moment, and Adam Dowling, the other UPS liveried. Is he carrying damage on that? He is. Currently running forward with Tony Stack closing in on the back of him, so we'll keep an eye on that. Evan Walsh out in the white Helen White, he hasn't got his skin liveried up on that. Evan always, of course, has the best looking cars out in the grid, so he won't be happy with that himself. Followed by Michael McCarthy. So David Yamamoto then in 8th position, followed by James Wigfield and Brian McManus. Shame for Brian to start the race, but he'll be looking to get as far up into that rattling around the background. You can hear is Brian Sexton there having a big off on the motion rig here in VRA. So McManus out in front, extending that lead now, almost up to 4 seconds. He brings it down into the bus stop to start his 3rd lap. Peter, of course, was saying during the week that he was going to pull out all the stops for this race. He's been getting a couple of podiums. He's really shown the class he has and the speed that he has. He puts in his fastest lap of the race. Peter's built a new sim, of course, for himself and has put a lot of time and effort into that. So he's now, after extending that lead out to 4 seconds, I'm just wondering, is Sergey in the background the problem as we zoom in here to see Sergey and Adam Dowling. So very spread out race at the moment. McManus down in 10th place, finding it hard to close up on the back of James Wigfield, who just puts in his best lap of the race. So we're just right on board here with Brian McManus down the Kemmel Straight. Is he going to be able to get a toe off the back of James here? We'll just see. He obviously is. He's carrying more speed, and that looks like it's going to be fairly straightforward down into Les Combs. He looks like he has it done. He does. So that's Brian McManus up into 9th place. Now formidable Michael McCarthy will be next in line for Brian. And then teammate Dave, Evan Walsh up ahead, going well. So Evan is up into 6th position. Unfortunately, I don't have the timings here in front of me. I should have. Let me just see if I can pull those up. And we'll see what way this championship standing. We'd like to know as we go into the 2nd race what is on the line. But as it stands, Brian McManus would still be in 2nd position behind Sanyo Alpha for the Drivers' Championship. And Pro Sim Racing will be suffering at this stage behind the team of Peter McCann and Jordan Kelly down in 10th. I believe Jordan Kelly actually brought his whole sim rig out on the job with him, so I hope the boss isn't hearing that, but I believe Jordan's in a hotel somewhere hooked up with a PC and a laptop and a screen, a G29 I think it is, so fair play to you, Jordan. It's true dedication to this. As we start down the back end, we'll just go back on board now with Peter McCann. So Peter starting into his 4th lap, and we're just right on board with Peter here to see that's his fastest lap, 1:22. Daniel Dennis can't match, 2:23 behind. Tony Stack making up a place through the bus stop ahead of Evan Walsh is up. Was that a spin for Adam Dowling? Damage to the car. Looks like Adam's after having some type of issue coming into the bus stop. So McCann through Radion. Evan Walsh putting in his personal best, 2:25. So it's currently Peter McCann from Danny Dennis, Sergio Graboon, Tony Stack, Evan Walsh, Brian McManus up into 6th place. That's a great... Oh, who's that in the background gone? Looks like Adam Down again. So he's obviously just got too much damage now to that car to continue. Promoting David Yamamoto and Jordan Kelly will reach up into 9th position now. So that's all working out for the McCann Jordan team. So Peter McCann able to extend his lead out to 5 seconds from Daniel Dennis. Sergio Grabin in 3rd position, 10 seconds back down the road. You may hear me snuffling and stuff here. I'm borderline man flu at the moment. So you're lucky to even have me here talking to you, such as the severity of that. So Peter McCann, Danny Dennis, Sergio Grabin, Tony Stack, Evan Walsh, Brian McManus. Brian McManus all the way up from 17th position. What a drive that is from Brian. Let's just keep an eye, and that is track limits 101 there from Brian as I say that. So there, when we're watching back over this, I'm sure There will be eyebrows raised at what type of track limits Brian is driving to. He currently has Michael McCarthy right up the back of him, so 4 seconds to close in on Evan Walsh, and Evan Walsh is not going to make that easy at all for McManus. It's almost a procession this stage as Peter McCann brings it through in a bus stop for the halfway point of lap number 5, and you can see Daniel Dennis is, after closing in a little bit on the back of him actually, but so far Peter McCann just has this race under control and would be nothing more than delighted to see, as Sergey puts in a 2:24 dead, to see Peter take this. He's been really, from the start of VRA, he's been gunning for the victory, and I won't put the mockers on him. He takes a lot of liberties through Radion and onto the Camel Straight. And Peter has put more effort into this, I'd say, than anyone else. As Brian McManus is, David Yamamoto up in the 7th position. So let me just Gavin on here and I'll see if I can actually find out what this all means for our championship. So coming into the race, Sanyu Alpha was on 90 points with Brian McManus on 61. Has 25 points for a win, and of course there's 1 point for a pole, which was taken by Peter McCann. And leading into the race was KMC Racing at Pro Sim Racing, and David Yamamoto and Brian McManus, of course, from Pro Sim Racing, and Sanyu Alpha and Daniel Strymon, who aren't in the race tonight, were leading that championship as well. So all to play for here. So McCann starting into his 6th lap. Daniel Dons has closed back in on him, but Sergey Grobin has certainly dropped back down. Just right on board with Sergey for a minute. Always a very clean and tidy driver around is Sergey. So to start onto lap 6. Very spread out across all the grids. So we're saying unfortunate start to the race. Brad is stayed with us. He's back up into 12th position, but started this race in turn 1. Contact between Brad O'Neans and Brian McManus put Brian McManus back to the 17th position. Brian's been able to fight his way back up into 6th. Sergey's just been able to basically keep his nose dry and stay out of problem, but as I say that that is Sergey gone off. So sorry about that, Sergey. That is obviously the commentators' mockers on that side of things. So that promotes Brian McManus up into 5th position now. So Jordan Kelly and Brian McManus for KMC. This will put them further ahead at the top of the table from Pro Sim Racing. Pro Sim Racing made up by David Yamamoto and Brian McManus. So it's really those two in the running for the team championships. McManus now up in the 4th place ahead of Evan Walsh. So we missed that as we were looking, and already Brian is up on the back of Tony Stack. So he was saying for the whole week this is a track that he really does love driving on, and this will be one hell of a drive to come from 17th place all the way up through 14 very quick drivers to get onto that podium. And that is where he'd want to be heading into the second race. Reverse grid for the second race, of course. So Brian would be in a shout then to take the championship, having gained 24 points. Or sorry, let me just confirm that 14 points for the Drivers' Championship. This was always about a team event anyway, so it'll be... Oh, Brian, Tony Stack just running a little bit wider. He has, as that, as I say, it promotes Brian. Just show the speed that Brian has. So he brings it through Blanchimont here. But that is unbelievable to come from 17th position, more or less, up onto the podium in 6 laps. So it brings it down into the bus stop here. So let's go back to Peter McCann. He's coming up on back markers, and it's going to get interesting now because Dominicus Danis has him in sight. He's reeled him back in. He's running 2:24 or 2:22.9s. As David Yamamoto puts in the 2:24 for his best lap. Is a back marker, so he's closed that right in. He's managed to get a toe off the back of the back markers. He's down to 2.8 seconds, so he's not giving up on this. He's got 3 laps to go. He's got 3 seconds to pull in from Peter McCann. Let's just ride on board with Peter and see, is he struggling at all with tyres? We're not sure what tyres these guys ran at this stage of the race, but he's looking more than comfortable with the car. Yeah, he's not fighting it too much. Dominic's falling back as well, as I was saying that. So obviously with 3 laps to go, you wouldn't count on McManus to pull in Dominicus Danis, but he will be delighted to claw his way back from 17th all the way up to 3rd place. Let's just look him back down. We've got Tony Stack and Evan Walsh. We'll keep an eye on these guys. That's going to be a great battle. We're right on board here with Evan Walsh. As I say that, Evan's up over the curbs. So I'm just going to calculate what way this will lead us into the second race. This is all very interesting now. So as it stands, let me see. Evan closing right up on the back of Tony Stack there, so we'll stay with these guys for a minute and we'll see if Evan can close in and make a move. This if anyone's ever going to try it through Eau Rouge, it probably will be Evan. So let's just stick with these two and we'll see. He hasn't quite closed up enough on the back of him, but we're just... So Peter McCann just managing the pace out in front, so he's managed just to extend that back out after that charge from Dominicus to 3.5 seconds. A little bit of a lock up there from McManus going into Les Combs. And we'll just stick with these two. Further back down we have David Yamamoto from Jordan Kelly, from Michael McCarthy. Sergey Grabin down in 9th position. As we're saying, he was running so well in 9th position all on his own, and just a mistake coming through Eau Rouge into Radion. Adam Dowling 10 seconds back, and then a very spread out Brandon Eanes, Ron Hederman. It's one of the back markers, just pulling it away. Rob O'Neill. We'll just ride back on board with Evan Walsh. So it looks like your championship isn't going to be decided in this race, that it is actually going to come down to the final race of the championship, which is what we all want to see. No Keith Dempsey, no Niall Quinn, no Niall Murray in the Assetto Corsa Championship. Of course, next week is we're moving on to iRacing, and we hope to see those guys out. But for Assetto Corsa GTN Cup, it's currently Brian McManus has closed up the gap on Sanyo Alpha for the championship with 14 points, but he needs to win the next race. That is plain and simple. So McManus currently sitting in third, hasn't done enough in this race as Dominic Stanis falls back 4.5 seconds, but Evan Walsh cannot close in on the back of Tony Stack. So let's just go back with Peter McCann, Trules Combs, looking very controlled at cars. I don't want to put the muckers on Peter now, but he's 5 seconds up the road. He has a lot of time and space just to control this, bring it home, and that will be, I think, Peter McCann's first win for VRA if he can manage just to keep it together. I'm sure he can. And that will bring both the both championships actually down to the wire. So it's going to come down to, just looking at the points here, it's going to be between Pro Sim Racing and KMC Racing for the last race for the team championship. And then, as I said, Brian McManus needs to win the race to finish ahead of Sanyo Alpha. Brian looking confident enough as well. And Dominicus, what a great drive from Dominicus actually. Although he's dropping back, I'm wondering, has he actually got an issue with the car? I don't know. I think he's just decided at this stage a second place would be a good result. Peter McCann 13 seconds up the road through Blanchimont. So to run down through your top 10, Peter McCann from Dominicus Stanis, Brian McManus, Tony Stack, Evan Walsh in 5th, David Yamamoto, Jordan Kelly, Michael McCarthy, Sergio Grabban and Adam Dowling, and Brandon Needs fought his way all the way back up to 11, so 10 seconds behind as Peter McCann puts in his fastest lap of the race. So let's just stay with Peter McCann as he brings us around for his last lap of the race. I don't think anyone else really challenging for positions behind him that I can see. And so you can hear all the rumblings going on here in the background behind me. As I said, a full house tonight. So we'll just see Peter McCann taking pole. 25 points for the win if he can bring it home. I'm sure he will. Manus, if he stays where he is, will get. Oh, he's closing in on the back. Let's just go to Brian McManus and see, has he actually got? He hasn't got enough side of him now. So we'll just stay with Peter McCann now. And I'm trying to do the maths here as I'm calculating. This is going to be very close now. I'll tell you what, we're never going to hear the end of this from Peter McCann now if he does manage to get this car back. He's had so many spins previously from podium positions close to the end of races. He'll be watching that back marker with with his heart in his mouth. So through Blanchimont and then the run up to the famous bus stop for Peter McCann, and we all hope and pray at this stage of Peter McCann we don't see this car coming backwards through here, but he's taking his time with it. And that is, as far as I can see, it's a great win for Peter McCann. He's flashing the lights. He'll be delighted with that. And a great victory. Great to see Peter McCann back at the front. He had a difficult couple of races, coming back after an injury where he hurt himself quite bad, and it was great to see Peter just stick it through and come back to that. Dominicus Stanis, Brian McManus taking that all-important third place. So let's see what that means for our championship as it stands at the moment. So that brings Brian McManus up to 75 points with a 14-point finish, and Sanyo Alpha on 90 points at the moment. So it's within the grasp of Brian to do this. The actual team championship itself then, so it's Pro Sim Racing on, where did David Yamamoto finish? In 6th place. We just add this up really quick. So Pro Sim on 119, Jordan Kelly bringing it home 7th place. So we'll just add that up. So 140. So basically 21. It's even less. Yeah, it's 21 points between KMC Racing, who are on 140 at the moment, and Pro Sim Racing on 119. So it is all going to come down to the second race. I said all eyes on Brian McManus, who will be starting from the back of the grid, reverse grids. You can watch Ron Hederman coming over the line, and I don't think anyone else is really in the running of that championship now. As I said, Sanyo Alpha and Daniel Steinsman not racing with us tonight. So it's going to come down to KMC Racing, the team of Jordan Kelly and Peter McMahon. Peter McMahon taking the win in this race. Jordan Kelly ran out in 7th position. There we have our final confirmation of our results. So Peter McCann from Dominicus Danis, Brian McManus. What a drive from Brian, bringing it all the way from 17th with that tip with Brandon Eanes on Atlasaurus as they entered into the first corner after lights out. Tony Stack in 4th position, Evan Walsh taking a 5th, David Yamamoto that all important 6th ahead of Jordan Kelly. Michael McCarthy then 8th. Sergey Grabin after that spin. I gave him the commentator's curse. Look at that, Brandon Eanes fighting his way all the way back after that big off, going through Eau Rouge. I don't know what happened. It looked like some type of failure. He just absolutely lost the front end of the car. A lot of damage back to the pits. And I will just show you the pace of these guys. So we've 2 minutes to lights out for race 2. Just to confirm, it's currently the team of David Yamamoto and Brian McManus who need to get results in the second race. They're on 119 for the team championship, ahead of Jordan Kelly and Peter McCann, the team of KMC Sim Racing, on 140 points. And Zari, the team of Sanyo Alpha and Daniel Steisman, still sitting in 3rd place. Sanyo Alpha is our driver's leader at the moment on 90 points, with Brian McManus closing in on him to 75 points. So Brian needs he needs 16 points out of the next, which would mean he needs to get a position of, basically he needs second position. Anything less than 1st and 2nd for Brian isn't going to do from here. And we're going to have to wait until the end of this race, because I'm absolutely smothering. I need to get some Lemsips into me here, but I'm not going to do the maths on what it's going to take for David Yamamoto and Brian McManus. Basically, we need a Brian McManus in 1st or 2nd and a David Yamamoto on the podium for these guys to take the GTN Cup. Just taking to the grid for our reverse grids for second race. So on pole it's going to be Ben McCluckery ahead of James Wigfield, with then Damien McMullen in 3rd. Ronan Hederman will be beside him in the grid, with Rob O'Neill, Adam Dowling in 6th, Brad Eanes taking 7th, Sergey Grabin. Then we've got Michael McCarthy and Jordan Kelly in 10th. Then we're into the big players in this race. We've got David Yamamoto in 11th, Evan Walsh, Tony Stack, Brian McIlstar from 14th, 15th Dennis, quick guy, Peter McCann out in front, Keith Campbell, and as you see the safety car, that's ourselves. So I'm going to take to the grid on that and see as we wait for lights out. For our second race, we're at 10 seconds ago, so we'll have lights on now. We got a penalty for myself. That's me as a camera card. That's what we have to do in this instead of course to read. Our league is to join in, and we're lights out. So we're just looking into the back to see it's a clean start so far from everyone will be looking for a tidy start here. So it looks like a bump in at the back is we've got cars going everywhere. We've got Jordan Kelly through, Rob O'Neill through, Brian McManus. Let's see, Brian got David Yamamoto, teammate, out in front as they come up into the famous Eau Rouge section. So Brian currently down 7th place. It's James Wigfield from Adam Dowling, from Ron Hederman, Brad O'Neill's making up a position out in front. So let's just see as they come down the Camel Straight. It's James Wigfield from Ron Hederman actually is made up over Adam Dowling to come into Les Combs. So let's just see. It's James leading them through from Ron Hederman, very packed up group. Adam Dowling, Brad O'Neill's, Brian McManus in 5th, Jordan Kelly, David Yamamoto, Evan Walsh, Dominicus in Damien McMullen, Rennet. I can't see where Peter McCann is. He's down in 14th position. So we'll just stay with these guys. So we'll go on board now with Ronan Hederman. He's got Brad O'Neill's coming up the outside of him. So Brad O'Neill's nipping up the inside of Ronan Hederman. Is Ronan going to cut back across? No, he hasn't got the speed out. So he begins with the nose down. Now this isn't all playing out very well for Brian McManus. McManus needs to be 2nd position on this, so that means he has to pass Adam Dowling, Ronan Hederman, James Wigfield and Brad O'Neill's to take that championship. Jordan Kelly back of Brian McManus as well, so closely followed for a much closer opening lap of this race. David Yamamoto, so this is all to play for the team championship right here. So we'll go back with Brad O'Neill. He's just kicking up a little bit of dirt as they come down through Blanchimont. Is Brad going to try it up the inside into just a little lift through Blanchimont, but Brad with his new shiny Husingveld Ultimate pedals, probably a little bit later on the brakes than everyone else. And he was a little tip. And tip in the back, so that's quite a mess now coming through. So that's Brad O'Neill's able to keep it clean though, and that is James in the background spinning around, and Brad leads up now from Adam Dowling. Is Adam Dowling going to do it up the inside to teammates? I think they are, and that really has worked out well for Brian McManus. Yeah, Brian just needs to keep it clean. He's not going to go ultimate brave here up through Eau Rouge, is he? Brian will be calculating in his head that he just needs to get ahead of Adam Dowling, who takes the quickest way through Radion. So this is it down the Camel Straight. So this is your championship right here. This is the decider. So it's Brad leading them in. McManus takes up to 2nd place up the inside of Adam Dowling. He's got it done. Is Adam Dowling going to keep the inside line? He hasn't. There's a spinner in the background. Looks like Ronan Hederman. It is in fact Ron Hederman. That promotes Jordan Kelly up to 4th place. So this is all for the championship right now. Ben McCluggery is disconnected. He's obviously had problems. So this is Brad O'Neill's from Brian McManus. Brian McManus just needs to finish in 2nd place. He'll know that. He'll have done the maths. Adam Dowling in 3rd place with Jordan Kelly. Now, what this all asks the question of right now, what's going on with Peter McCann and David Yamamoto? This again for the team championship. So as it stands, if it was to finish the way it is, Brian McManus would in fact take the driver's championship of this, but it really comes down to what Peter McCann and David Yamamoto are up to here. Jordan Kelly is behind Adam Dowling, and Jordan Kelly, as we were just saying that, has actually managed to get into 3rd position. So we'll just stay with these guys for a minute as Jordan takes it up through the inside of Fangs and is able to make that stick. So this is all for the championship now. I can't do the maths on this at all. I have to get out the Excel sheets and the calculators after this one. And as I say that, Peter McCann has also got the jump on David Yamamoto. So this championship now is wide open. As it stands, as I was saying, Brian McManus would be our champion with points as it is. But Brian isn't going to let this sit at all. This is probably one of the biggest rivalries in VRA. This is Brad O'Neill's against Brian McManus. These two guys, they love fighting hard for this. Have great banter and crack online in VRA chat, always after the races. As they say, their racing is robust. So we will stay with these guys and see what's happening here. So everyone putting in their fastest laps on lap 3. McManus is closing in a little bit. 110. Jordan Kelly now. He's got to jump on Adam Dowling. So as it's standing, Jordan Kelly having to drive his life. So let me quickly try and see if I can figure out what way this would look for the championship. So Jordan Kelly would be on 14 points. McManus on 17 if it was to stay the way it was. Brandon Eames would be taking 25. And Peter McCann will be taking 9. Just right back on board with Brian McManus here for the moment. So they're starting to just stretch out. I'm wondering, is Brian already done the maths in his own head and is just figuring out second place will do him? I very much doubt it. He will be trying as hard as possible to close in on Brandon Eames out in front. Peter McCann up into 7th. David Yamamoto down to 9th, which would be 7 points. So as it stands, there'll be 20 points difference, and this would mean that KMC Racing, the team of Jordan Kelly and Peter McCann, would in fact take the championship by 20 points. So something really has to happen here for David Yamamoto. He has to get that car going and get ahead, and Peter McCann goes up into 6th place. I'm saying that. So this is all working out for KMC Racing at the moment, as Peter McCann gets the jump on Evan Walsh. We're going to stick with these because, as I was saying, that Brian McManus is closed in again onto the back as they both go 222, 222, 1. Nothing between them as they head into lap 4. Everyone going purple on this lap. So just call out your top 10 again. It's Brandon Eames in first position ahead of Brian McManus, your current championship leader. So Brian just needs to bring this car home in second place, but he'll be thinking all the time now about this. He'll want the championship and he'll want the team championship, so he won't just be sitting here thinking on the camel straight, I'm just going to sit behind Brandon Eames. He's going to be gunning down Brad and going for that win. Jordan Kelly sitting in 3rd place. Jordan Kelly's somewhere in, I believe, in a hotel room in Tipperary at the moment after bringing his PC, laptop, pedal, steering wheel, everything with him to race with us tonight. And that is dedication. So podium for Jordan Kelly would see KMC Racing currently take the championship. But as I say, that Brad is he's under pressure here from McManus. Is McManus going to try it on the outside? I think he is. He's late on the brakes as they go alongside Trooper Sells. Brian just tucks back in and he'll get the run on Brad now if he can. McManus just running a little bit wide there. Just deciding to sit back and maybe give it another go. He's got the measure of Brad on that last lap around. As I'm saying that, Jordan Kelly, something has gone wrong. A big spin for Jordan Kelly. So this throws the championship back open again. So as I was saying, Jordan Kelly, somewhere in a hotel in Tipperary, is cursing and blinding right now. Down into 11. So what does that do for a championship? So that would mean Jordan Kelly, instead of picking up 14 points, is now about to pick up 5, bringing that down to 154. And Peter McCann up in the 4th place will be 12. Jeez, I feel like an accountant here doing my end of year tax return. So 157 would have KMC Racing as if it was to finish the way it is right now. David Yamamoto then 8th position, so David Yamamoto would be picking up 8 points. Now, very interesting. If Brian McManus was to get the win, that would be 152 points for Pro Sim Racing, who would be just pipped by 5 points if it was to remain the way it is. With KMC on 1, so there's 5 points between them. 157 currently for KMC. We'll keep an eye on this. Brother Needs, as I said, that has gone down into second place. I was looking at this spreadsheet here too much, so it's currently Brian McManus in first place ahead of Brother Needs. So I missed that as I was doing all that calculating as I head onto the Kemmel Straight. So McManus has managed to get ahead of Brother Needs. We're matching lap for lap, but halfway through this race now, we've got Brian McManus from Brother Needs. I'm just trying to see, is there a problem for Brad? Doesn't look like he's carrying any damage or any too much steering angle that car, so obviously just a mistake or something from Brad has allowed Brian McManus through. So this promotes Brian McManus now in the driving seat in terms of the championship, and now he's got his eyes on his driving partner for the team championship. David Yamamoto in a position, needs to get onto the back of Daniel Dennis-Mumber and get past. So let's stick with that, with David Yamamoto, because this is now where a championship is for the Team Cup. So David Yamamoto, very experienced racer, real life, and very capable sim racer as well. So he's struggling with that Porsche as he comes almost complete lock out of I'm just seeing, is this back markers ahead of Daniel? I think it is. So no, sorry, it's Tony Stack. So we're at the halfway point of this second race. It's Brian McManus from Brother Needs. Brother Needs again closing in on the back of Brian McManus. Peter McCann in third place. So that'll be two podiums for Peter McCann. We will never hear the end of that if that's the way this ends. Adam Dowling, great drive from Adam Dowling to take out fourth place. But I'm sure, if nothing else, Evan Walsh sitting beside him will be saying, not yet, buddy. Tony Stack in top 6 with Dominic Dennis. So let's just ride on board here with David Yamamoto. He needs to get these points. So Brian McManus has done his part of the deal, bringing in 25. As it would stand, Peter McCann in third place, bringing that up to 14 points, and that would bring them to 159. So 7 points in the difference. So David Yamamoto needs to get the squared on and get at least up into a top 5 position here, which is asking a lot. Now, is he going to try it up the inside into the source? You can see how well matched these cars are, but now David Yamamoto is just going to sit back and wait for his time. Brandon Needs fall back 1 second behind Brian McManus as we are on 4 laps to go. So it's McManus from O'Neill's, McCann ran at top 3, Dowling, Walsh, Stack, Dennis, Yamamoto, Sergio Graben, James Wigfield, Jordan Kelly down 11. That's spin for Jordan Kelly. Had him in third place all the way back down. Really kicked this championship open with 4 laps to go. It all depends on this race here with David Yamamoto, if he can get this done or not. He moves to the inside line. I don't think he has the speed in that Porsche to do it. Let's see if he can get through. He has managed to get that position up. So that's 7th place. He brings it through, sideways through Les Combs. Can he make it stick now? He has to. The championship depends on this. He's back down. Dominic Dennis has made that Ferrari just stick as they come through Brussels. That is unfortunate for David Yamamoto. You just see how twitchy that Porsche is on the exit of the corners as he's getting the power down. So this is where a championship is at the moment. Peter McCann just sitting happily in third position. Let's just ride with Peter and just see how much of a gap he has. So he's again winner of the last race. Had to bring his way from the back of this grid all the way to P3. A bit of a messy opening lap in this one, in fairness. But McCann knows that if he can keep that car where it is, they're going to take this GTN Team Cup Championship, and that would be bring nothing more than joy to Peter, in fairness. He's been quite regularly onto the podium, so on the podium for the Virtual Leinster Trophy as well. So great sim racer. Brian McManus has extended the lead out in front to 1.6 over Brad O'Neill's. So he brings it down in start lap 7, so they're just coming through the bus stop there. And then further back down the road you have Adam Dowling. A great race from Adam Dowling, in fairness. A little bit of a lock up. I'll be those pedals at him. You get on to me soon and get a new set of Fanatec's. Why don't you do that? So Evan Walsh will be hunting down off the back of Adam Dowling, and Tony Stack in the background as well. So a whole gaggle of cars there. Let's go back with David Yamamoto and just see, is he going to try up the inside this time. Dominicus running wide, so I think that is the deal done this time. So David Yamamoto up into 7th position and now has Tony Stack, but I'm sure Dominicus won't sit back and just let that all happen. So let's see, is he going to try the impossible up Eau Rouge? There's more sense than that, but now let's see if he's got the speed to carry out of Radion down into the Camel Straight. I think Yamamoto has just sent that through and made that stick. So obviously you can see there with the windscreen and everything, the Dominicus is carrying some damage on that car. Jordan Kelly is up into 10th position, so that is another couple of points for KMC Racing. So that is 6 points. That brings those up to 160 in total, whereas Yamamoto and McManus are on 152. So with 3 laps to go, I can't see, unless something drastic happens, as it would stand, McManus would take the Drivers' Championship away from Sanyo Alpha, who was given a 1 race ban for misconduct after the last race, and he would take the Drivers' Championship. But as it stands, the team of Jordan Kelly and Peter McCann would take this one with KMC Sim Racing with 160 points. So it's McManus on the ins, dropping back down to nearly 3 seconds now behind McManus. So Peter McCann comfortably in 3rd place. So we'll just ride here with Peter McCann as he comes through Blanchimont. And Pete having an absolute cracking 2 races here at Spa. We go back with Brian McManus, so he puts in his fastest lap of the race so far, a 2:22 ahead of a 2:22.9 from Brad. Brian absolutely flying out in front. Tony Stack and Evan Walsh, this whole gaggle of cars here. We just watch, is this group going to allow David Yamamoto to close up any further? It will. Adam Dowling putting in his fast lap, as is Tony, as is David Yamamoto. So McManus now 3 seconds ahead of Brad O'Neans. Peter McCann comfortably just sitting in 3rd place. You're going to have to excuse me as I go for a sneeze. Hello back. Hey. Losing this battle, folks. It's Brad O'Neans close back. Is that an issue for McManus? Just having a look there. He's lost a second. I don't think it is. But McManus just needs to bring this home in 1st or 2nd place, take championships. But he's got both titles in mind as this, but he's got 8 points to close up behind where Jordan Kelly is in 10th position. And McManus will currently be bringing home 3rd place as it is with 14 points. So with David Yamamoto currently running in 7th, bringing home 9 points. That closes up, so there's a 7-point gap between us. It is quite close, so anything in these last few laps could change all of this championship. But as it stands, McManus out in front, he's controlling the pace. 2 laps to go. He's going to be thinking about Driver Championship and Team Championship. You can see Brad O'Neans in his mirror behind after closing right in 1.4 seconds. So I'm just wondering, is Brian just managing the pace of this, or has he got a problem? Because Brian is closing in very, very quickly indeed. But let's stick with David Yamamoto here, because this is where the actual championship is. So David Yamamoto really needs to get past Tony Stack and Evan Walsh and Adam Dowling, in fairness, to, let me just calculate that, if he was finishing 4th, to have 12 points. And even that wouldn't be enough. So what you really need to happen here is for David Yamamoto, as he's down in position as I'm saying that. So David Yamamoto locking up in through the bus stops. He's got back up past Daniel Dominicus, and now he needs to hunt down Tony Stack and Evan Walsh. So it's really this where the race is at the moment. Adam Dowling up ahead of Evan Walsh as Tony Stack closes in on the back. Let's watch these as they come down through Eau Rouge with 2 laps to go. And currently, as it stands, Brian McManus will take the Drivers' Championship away from Sanyo Alpha. But then it all comes down to, as it would stand at the moment, we have 4 points between KMC Racing, the team of Jordan Kelly and Peter McCann. And in second place with 156 points will be Pro Sim, the team of David Yamamoto and Brian McManus. So Brad O'Neill's is going to be tormenting the back of McManus soon as well. And that could be a last lap championship deciding battle that's going on. So Brad really closing in now. So he's 1.1. We'll go to that in a second. We'll just stick with these guys. Adam Dowling from Evan Walsh, from Tony Stack, David Yamamoto. David Yamamoto needs to get past all of these to have this championship ball. He's driving his boots off in the background. So it's Porsche, Ferrari, Porsche. As Yamamoto runs wide there. So is that... It is. That is David Yamamoto, as I was saying that. So he's obviously really struggling with those tyres. Let's go back to just see how close has Brad O'Neill's managed to get. He hasn't got close enough. Now somebody's gone right. That's Peter McCann down. Oh my god, as I'm saying that, what has happened to Peter McCann? So Peter McCann, comfortably on his own, has now opened this championship right up. So he's right behind David Yamamoto, which brings Peter McCann down 8 points. So I think this is where the championship is. It is indeed. If it was to stay the way it is, if David Yamamoto can stay ahead of Peter McCann, it is where the championship race is right now. There's 1 point in it between the two of them. Has Peter McCann got an issue with the car? Let's just have a look. It doesn't seem to be. But he's struggling. So obviously the tyres have just gone off for Peter McCann. So leader's on the final lap. So let's just have a look. It's Brian McManus. You can see Brad O'Neill's in the background from Evan Walsh. Who just managed to squeeze past Adam Dowling through the source onto the final lap. So let's stick with these guys as they're coming. Actually, I'm going to go with Adam Dowling. He's hardly going to try it through Eau Rouge. No, had a second thought about that. So what I'd say at this stage, just by the way all these cars are handling, is tyres have really gone off. Tony Stack carrying damage. He's got a bit of pace over Adam Dowling. So let's watch these guys as they come down the Camel Straight. I'm just keeping an eye on Brian McManus for the championship out in front. Brad O'Neill has obviously decided to back out of that charge for the win. He's going to settle for second place. Adam Dowling just taking the shortcut through. And who's that up the inside? I think it's Tony Stack. It is. Tony Stack up into fourth place. Dowling on the outside, locks up onto the brakes. Can he keep it on the inside as they run through Brussels? So Adam's going to have the inside line here, of course. But that now opens it up for David Yamamoto. So David Yamamoto is in with a chance of taking this championship if he can get past the three cars ahead of him and get a bit of air between Peter McCann, because as it stands, KMC Racing still have it by 1 point. So that is David Yamamoto up into 6th place. So they are on equal points. I can't believe this. Is 154 for Pro Sim Racing and 154 for KMC. So now, lads, Peter McCann is up into 7th, which brings them 1 point ahead. So it's 155 for KMC on the final lap. He couldn't make this up. He couldn't even write this down. He wouldn't believe me if I did. Pro Sim Racing are 154, and that is with Brian McManus, who's now got Brad O'Neill's close up. So Brian McManus takes the win from Brad O'Neill's. But let's get back down to where the action is here. So it's David Yamamoto on the final lap for the championship. This is where it's going to be. Peter McCann in 7th place. Peter McCann down into 8th place. I can't even do the maths on this now. Wait, hold on. So Peter McCann, where's Jordan Kelly? 10th. I'm not lying. If David Yamamoto pips him to the line, which he might, in 6th. Lads. Hold on. Right, so Brian McManus takes the win. So he takes 25 points, and David Yamamoto will take 6th position to get 10. So that has Pro Sim Racing on 154. I'm not going to make this up if it is the way I'm looking at it. Peter McCann finishes 8 and gets 8 points, and Jordan Kelly finishes 10th, getting 6 points. Means that they're both on 1. McCarthy and Jordan Kelly in the top 10. Rob O'Neill taking 11th from Damien McMullen. Sergio Grabin, Keith Campbell and James Wigfield rounding out the top 15. So there you have it. As it stands, it would be Brian McManus who is crowned our champion for the GTN Cup Series as a driver, and it's shared on 154 points, pending I suppose any incidents to be sent in. There were a lot of incidents those 2 races from I can't even get my head around this now at the moment. So 154 for KMC and 154 for Pro Sim Racing. I'm tempted to say to give them one more go at it, but that will just show you how close that championship is. We'll wrap it up there for tonight. Next week we're off to our iRacing series, which again will be on a Wednesday night. We'll be starting the broadcast at about 8 o'clock again. Apologies for the late broadcast tonight. I'm just looking at these points. It's neck and neck at the top for KMC and Pro Sim Racing. Of course, on a Wednesday night you can come up here. We've got the sims are all rocking out. We've actually got 5 sims going tonight. I'm looking here. Brian Sexton is still bet into this VR on motion rig going around. So there's very little else for me to say except thanks to all of our drivers who turn up every week. No Leo tonight, unfortunately. No Jack as well. So you have to put up with my mumbled rumblings as we wrap up the GTN Cup. So to confirm, it's Brian McManus who takes the Drivers' Championship away from Sanyo Alpha in the last round. And for the Team Cup, we've got KMC Racing, the team of Jordan Kelly and Peter McCann, finishing up in 154 points with the team of Pro Sim Racing. David Yamamoto doing what he needed to do at the end. And Brian McManus taking that home in style to take the win in the second race. So next week we're off to Spa again, so we're not moving away. So join in for this one. This is going to be the GTE Pro Championship on iRacing. Again, stream starting at 8 o'clock, and that is one not to be missed. So all there's left to say from myself and VRA and Rob, myself, and everyone here is at VRA, thanks for joining in. What a race that was. I think we're going to have to go one more round of that, but I'll have a chat to the lads and we see how that goes. Okay, over and out. Good night.